Hello and welcome back to Railroad Acres. Today we're going to talk emergency communications and emergency communication plans. So a part of our preparations, right, should include emergency communication plans, and it doesn't have to get super techy, super nerdy, whatever. Yes, I am a licensed ham radio operator. However, I'm only going to cover that a little bit in this 7-part-ish series. We'll figure out, I think right now I have about plans for at least 7 videos, and to include this one, which is the overview of emergency communications. And so really, I'm going to try to make this series more about the average citizen that doesn't want to know or doesn't want to figure out how to be a licensed ham radio operator and wants to just know how to do emergency communications as easy as possible. So part 1, like I already said, part 2 is going to be building your plan, or a PACE plan, as we call in the military. It's kind of believed developed in the SOF community, the Special Operations community, but PACE is an acronym for Primary, Alternate, Contingency, and Emergency. Examples, some real quick examples, like your primary for most of us is probably going to be a cell phone, right? Secondary might be, an email from a computer. I'll put together something really good for all this. I would say secondary for me would probably be using this as a license operator and hitting my local repeater, depending on what scenario happened, right? Because disasters, we can imagine everything we want in our minds. We can read books, we can watch movies. However, each situation is unique, and you're just going to have to figure it out at a time. But having a good plan with lots of contingencies built into it will allow you to hopefully successfully be able to get back in contact with those people that you love, your family, your friends, your neighbors, whatever it may be. It will help you get in communications with them so that you guys can make a plan to do what to do next, right? So those PACE plans are important. We'll go over all that. We'll go over some basic resources you can use that are already pre-templated, and I'll provide links for that when we do that video. So part 3 is going to be GRMS, which stands for General Mobile Radio Service. The reason I cover that is because we talked about two-way radios, right, as a method of communications. These Baofangs, which a lot of people in the prepper community own, a lot of even hams like myself, I own a couple of these. I bought these before I was even a licensed operator, and no, I didn't use them before I was licensed. I used them to monitor, but I did not transmit on them prior to that. GRMS does require a license. However, it does not require a test. You go to FCC's website, you fill out your little lovely information, you pay the fee, and I'll put the fee in the video. I don't remember. I think it's changed recently. And you pay for it. That license does cover you and your whole family. GRMS has some great features that will allow you to potentially use repeaters if they're in your area, deploy your own repeater if you're willing to learn about how to do that. And Midland has recently, over the last couple of years, have released a really nice line of radios, not only handheld radios, but mobile radios that you can put in your vehicle or have set up at home. You put a nice antenna up, and you could have some pretty amazing local area coverage, even expanded even more if there's repeaters in the area. And like I said, we'll talk repeaters later. I'm going to try to keep this all at the basic average citizen level. I'm not trying to get too nerdy on any of y'all, because I know you'll gloss over and you'll stop watching, or a lot of you will. Part 4 is going to be about monitoring, right? It's because understanding what is happening prior to a potential disaster, during and after, are very important. So that can be done. A lot of us always say, hey, well, I can just go on the Facebook pages or the whatevers and figure out what's going on. And those services might not be available. So what are some other ways you can do that? Well, the old days, or not old old days. But a lot of people just want AM FM little radios. I don't have a basic AM FM radio, but this is a shortwave radio, which is one of the ones you can use. Fairly affordable price ranges, right? You can get these in the, I think there's some that are even under $40. This one is around 80, if I remember right. I'll put the prices and links for this stuff. But this is basically like the Texon one, but it is the County Comms version of the GP-5 is the model. It's a single sideband, which gives you more options. We're not going to get into that because I don't want you glossing over. But lots of options there for monitoring different radio frequencies. And then SDR, software defined radio, which I started off with the basic dongles here years ago, require software and some knowledge, some reading, some watching some YouTube videos and stuff like that to figure out how to get set up. Really cool, very cumbersome, great for at home, not great for mobile. However, recently, and at least recently I purchased, I think they've been out for a little while, are these awesome portable SDR software defined radio units. This one has an internal battery. This is a Chinese clone of a Maliki, which is a Russian made software defined radio. Yes, Russian made, I get it. Okay, but they're pretty cool. They only have their own internal battery. This is a touchscreen, not the greatest, but it works. The antenna could be replaced with better antennas. We'll get into that on its own video on this channel. So if you're interested in that, come stay tuned later and we'll talk about that. And then your basic AM FM radio, but I highly recommend one of the ones that's set for that has the weather alert feature on them. Check those out. Usually you can find them out most your normal kind of retail stores like Walmart's and stuff like that carry them. Or, of course, you can find them on Amazon and any of the, online retailers that have that weather alert. That way, if you live in a region that is prone to, things like tornadoes that pop up seemingly out of nowhere, those weather alert radios will tune up and wake your butt up and help you get your butt downstairs or wherever you need to be to get away from that tornado, hopefully. And then cell phones, because that's going to be part 5. Cell phones, there is other ways to utilize these than maybe everyone realizes. There's even systems now, and this is on the techie side, so I'm trying to kind of balance between the two. LORAN, I call it LORAN, it's LORAN, which stands for long range radio, low power, long range, something like that. I'll get into that on the video. I don't own one yet. I'm going to buy a couple. They're under the Mesh-tastic network systems. Pretty dang cool. I think there's a lot could be done there. Ooh, man, if you had a big group spread across a certain area, there's some really cool stuff that could be done with those. But more to follow on that, and we get into that. And I won't get too deep into that on this video or this series, but I might in later series videos. And then kits, because we all love kits if we're in the prepper communities, preparedness space, building something like, taking one of these little organizers or bags, so this one's empty, right? But you could put in here, this one's excessively sized, this Anchor power pack, I would go more like for a 10,000 milliamp one, some extra cords for charging cell phones in there. Then you could even stuff, a affordable two-way radio like this Baofeng that's programmed for GRMS frequencies. And of course you got to take the antenna off, but stuff that in here with instructions, lists of phone numbers, emergency contacts, something like that. That way if your normal phone's dead and people don't memorize phone numbers anymore, really, they have that stuff available so they could hit somebody else up. Put this in each vehicle, and that way your friends, family, so on and so forth, have that stuff available to them. So that'll be part 6. And then part 7, right now, last but not least, the two-way radio side of the license side, just because I want to at least mention it, because I feel like I can't talk about emergency communication without talking about ham radio, to hopefully maybe, push some people that are just on the edge of going out there and just taking a little bit of time and studying, at least get their technician class. That's all I have. Maybe someday I will upgrade. Currently, it's just not in my. Got a lot of other things going on. It is time consuming, and getting above this level. This level is not very cheap. You know, depending on what you buy. This is a DMR setup. A little more expensive. I have some mobile radios, and so on and so forth. But getting onto the high frequency side gets exponentially more expensive. It's an expensive hobby, and so I would at least recommend that you can get one person in your family that's interested in. If you can push them towards getting their license, their technician class license, it could definitely help improve your overall emergency communications world and your overall preps. So if you've made it this far, and 10 minutes in here, please subscribe to the channel. It's free. Doesn't cost nothing, I promise. Won't get a bill in the mail, nothing. Hit the thumbs up. Check us out at other social media links that will be down below. Our website, theravenwoodacres.com, linked in the video and down below. You can see some other resources. I am developing all that myself on my spare time, learning as I go. So it is getting better by the week, I would say, maybe by the month. Depends on how much spare time I have. So I will keep adding more and more content over there, stuff that you can't find here at the YouTube, on this YouTube channel, or other places you might be following me. I appreciate you all. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.